Chat, record.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Oh, here's my husband.
We got it? We got a recording?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
Hi, honey.
Hi, Larry.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Larry. There.
Hello.
We're at two separate ends of the country, so I'm in the north, he's in the south. Wow.
I'm where it's warm.
I'm where it's cold.
Is that Myra? Hi, Myra. That's another one of my friends. Welcome from New York. We got quite a few places represented here, I see. So Myra, I got my cocktail.
Your sister just came on.
Whoops.
There's Myra.
Hi, Myra.
Hey, Herb.
Hey, Larry.
Eileen.
Myra's daughter works for
And iPhone.
kosher.com. Kosher.com.
Hi, Herb.
And hi, Celeste.
Hi.
I
Hi,
asked her to throw some of my ideas for tonight out at her. So I got her approval.
Well, Herb, I'm going to see if I can learn how to cook latkes and then set the kitchen on fire.
Oh, do you have a fire extinguisher?
No, but the fire department's not far away.
Fair enough.
Vodka works, Dad. That'll put it out.
Oh, yeah.
What works?
Vodka.
Oh, great. Yeah, sure.
It's not. I'll turn it up my oil. So you tell me when you want me to start.
Okay, well, first thing what we're going to do is explain what Jubilees does, and then I'll turn it over to you. The Jubilees is a group at CBI. We are the baby boomers. This is for people who were born between 1946 and 1964. That doesn't include Ben or Mikey, but we let them on anyway. So we have, in the past, we've had various events. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, of course, you know, we've had to change some of our things. And I thought this would be, and Sandy is a fabulous cook. And I figured that this would be a good Hanukkah demonstration, a way to get some of the Jubilees together and, you know, right before the new year. So Sandy, if you would like to take it, I hope everybody has their cocktail of choice.
We do.
And
I'll drink to that.
Sandy, take it away.
Perfect.
Okay.
Delighted to be hanging out with you guys tonight and doing a couple of my favorite things, which is hanging out with my CBI family, having a cocktail, and cooking, right? The only other thing could be gardening, but I have some things from my garden here in front of me, so that makes me happy. So the first recipe we're going to make is the curried sweet potato latkes. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I think everybody can see okay?
Yep.
Okay, is take my egg and beat it up a bit. Add some coconut milk. I use coconut milk a lot. Often when I want to make something parve, I made a garam masala chicken this week, and it's terrific because you use the coconut milk to marinate in, and it's completely parve, and it's a really yummy thing to use. So I have my coconut milk and my eggs mixed together, and then I'm going to add my sweet potatoes, which happen to be from my garden. And if anybody's interested in growing sweet potatoes next year, I can give you some little starts, and you too can be cooking with your own sweet potatoes. They're pretty darn prolific and have some cute little flowers. So I'm mixing the eggs and the coconut milk up with the potatoes. And then from there, I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, which would be the flour. I'm using almond flour, substituting for flour. really recipes when you're cooking are just mere suggestions. We don't eat flour, so I use the almond flour.
Okay.
If you like things spicy, you add more of the spices. So it's really, you have a lot of leeway when you're cooking. And I will typically, if I want to make something new, I'll read a bunch of different recipes and then kind of make my own, which is what I did for some of these recipes. So now I'm going to add the spices, which are some curry, some ginger, some cumin, a little bit of red pepper, and of course, salt and pepper. I add that in, and just a tiny amount of brown sugar. Incidentally, the recipe that you all have access to, I have the recipe. When I did a test on the donuts, I had so many donuts. We don't eat donuts. So I found myself in my front yard handing hot donuts out to people as they were walking. So, and then a little bit of baking powder goes in. And you mix that all together. And it's, I know there might have been some question about all the coconut milk. Would it be too wet? But as you can see, it's a moist batter, if you will, but it's not runny or wet. So I've been heating my oil, which is not, forgot to turn on both burners, which is not quite hot enough. So feel free to ask some questions while my oil is heating. Yeah, down low. Anybody have questions?
Not yet.
All righty then. So I find it very handy to use like a little measuring cup to scoop out your latke mixture. One nice thing, it keeps the portions fairly similar, and it makes it, handy and easier to do. So Mr. Oil is heating up. Now, after I fry the latkes on both sides, whether it be the potato, the sweet potato, the zucchini latkes that we're going to make, I take them off and I'll put them on a sheet pan with a rack and put them in an oven about 275 or so. I do this also when I make salmon cakes or, anything else that has got oil in it. Put it in the oven and the oil will drip out and it'll crisp up your patty. So that's something I basically do for everything I make. So I think this is about there. I'm gonna pop my little sweet potato latkes in.
Andy, is that electric or, it's electric? I was wondering whether you have electric or gas cooking.
That's perfect. I forgot to introduce my sous chef, the bartender, the cameraman, and not to mention my best friend. Herb is helping me tonight. Since Herb retired, he has really gotten in the kitchen with me. And I test him. If I make something new with a different spice or whatever, I'll say, okay, close your eyes and try to identify what's different about this. Today we had, for our meal of the day, I made some pan-fried cod. And as an example, I used some coconut flour and a little bit of shredded coconut. So of course that was kind of easy to choose what was in there. But so just like with fine wine, we're training our palates to the different nuances of the spices and whatnot. So I have 4 of the sweet potatoes cooking, and while they're cooking, we can move on to our zucchini latkes. I enjoy making a tzatziki sauce with my zucchini. Tip it up a little. Perfect.
Sandy?
yes.
I have just one question. I know we're supposed to fry things on the holiday, but could these be baked?
Could they be? I imagine that they could. I would spray your sheet pan or whatever you're frying them baking them liberally with a cooking spray, or even maybe a little bit of oil on the pan. I like things that are fried, and the only oil basically that I use is olive oil. I use a light olive oil. I use that for making my salad dressings, for frying. And again, if you put them on a rack in the oven, any of that excess oil drips out. So they're crispy, but not oily.
If I could interject, I was just at my son and daughter-in-law's, and she uses avocado oil.
Yes.
And it's a very light, it's not an avocado. I don't like avocados. It's not an avocado taste, but it did make things less greasy.
Yeah.
And you can get that in a spray.
I find that these are not oily at all. Once they're fried and in the oven, it's all good. So earlier today, I grated my cucumbers. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain them. It's really important. They have tons of liquid in them. So I'm going to put them into a dish towel. And I'm going to show you how much liquid comes out of these things. See all that liquid? I'm draining all the liquid out. Otherwise, the tzatziki salad would be too runny. Usually this is when Herb comes in and I say, Herb, squeeze this cukes or the zucchini for me. I do this when I'm cooking with spinach as well. So if you can see all the liquid that came out of there, it's quite a bit. So I'm going to add this to a cup of, you can use either sour cream or Greek yogurt. We love Greek yogurt. It's thick and delicious. So I have in here today sour cream. I'm going to add, I chopped up fresh dill from the garden as well as fresh scallions. I really enjoy scallions, and I have them. You can use red onion, yellow onion, Vidalia. So I just dump that in, a little bit of fresh lemon juice. And now the cucumber, the grated cucumber, and I'll mix it together, and that'll be my dipping sauce. I often make this for when I'm making salmon patties. It's a great thing to serve with salmon patties. Gonna add some pepper and a little bit of salt. You can also add, if you like, throw in some feta cheese into this. It's really quite yummy as an accompaniment. And I find with the zucchini latkes, it's really perfect. So I've got that mixed together, and I will lay that aside. So before I get to the zucchinis, I've got to do a flip here. So we're back to these latkes that have been cooking. Man, these smell good. I wish you guys could smell them. Okay. Gonna let those cook just another minute. And come back over to my zucchini, which are, can you bring me the thing on the table over there? Just like the TV shows, right, guys?
You are so prepared. You are incredible.
You're amazing.
You are,
Zucchini latkes or zucchini pancakes are something that we have for dinner, like maybe once a week. So I'm gonna take these little, 1 second, let me get this straight. Gonna take these sweet potato latkes out. So as I said, normally I would put these right in the oven and literally any oil they absorb will come out. But I'm not going to do that now because I want to plate everything in a little bit so we can all see the finished product. So now we're going to move on to the zucchini latkes. In this bowl, I have grated onions and zucchini. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the cucumbers. I'm going to squeeze out the liquid. And it's amazing, again, how much liquid is in these things. So I gather it together in a towel. You can see it's already soaking through. And I squeeze. Ugh, the more you get out, the better. And my onion is in here also. I grated, I used my food processor and I grated the onion and the zucchini together. So all this liquid is coming out. I mean, it's really amazing. So much in there. Oh, okay. Just gonna dump this. And it's good. So I'm gonna throw my zucchini back in this bowl. No, I'm not. First, I wanna beat up my eggs. It's gonna make it easier. Gonna beat up 2 eggs. And something I've been doing for quite some time, and I feel it makes a huge difference in my baking. Can you tilt it back a little bit? In my baking and in my cooking, to take your ingredients out and leave them on the counter to room temperature. My eggs, sour cream, you know, for an hour or so before you cook, just to bring your ingredients to room temperature. Things cook more evenly, and I find it really makes a difference. So it's something I do all the time now. So I'm beating my egg up. And of course, my eggs will go into my compost pile. And I'm dumping in my zucchini into the egg mixture. And then I'm going to add a cup of matzo meal or flour. In this case, again, since we don't eat the flour, I'm using almond flour. A little bit of baking soda, salt and pepper. So all that yummy stuff goes in. And give that a stir. I tell you, butternut squash would be awesome to make latkes. As Rabbi was talking to us about in his class, you know, back in the day, there was not potatoes. The big deal is to fry something. He was saying his kids are going to be eating little fried chicken schnitzel fingers, which is also yummy and awesome. Doesn't have to be the potato latkes. Okay, where did I put? Well, we have another one. We have another one. So I'm going to take my mixture. We're moving over to the fryer. Gonna pat it in. So I'm using about a 1/3 cup measure. I find that that size is really perfect. Give it a little touch. And then the oil that goes.
Great idea.
You know, and again, it's when you do it this way, your latkes are nicely formed. They're about the same size. And in those go. I've got my oil on about a 5, which is, you know, a good medium high. I'm gonna.
Sandy, are you using the same oil?
I used the same oil that I did the 4 sweet potato latkes in. And I
Yeah,
was gonna say, I am gonna, because you know, after you fried a couple batches of anything, the particles start to burn in there. So what I'll do, I will switch after the zucchini latkes, and I'll switch the oil when I do the potato latkes. So I'll have clean, you know, some clean oil. Okay. Oh, this is thirsty work.
hey Goldie.
Hey, Miss Bonnie. Isn't this fun?
It is fun, especially since mine didn't work today.
Well, isn't it good? Hanukkah is 8 days. There's lots more days for you to try.
We keep on trying.
Maybe you could make them with vodka. You'd have better success.
Mhm.
So
I
have,
agree.
do most of you guys make latkes for Hanukkah?
I made.
No,
Trader Joe's frozen.
I usually do, but I was away. But my daughter-in-law did. She made great latkes.
Awesome. So while the zucchini latkes are doing their thing, and let me check as I see a little brown. Yeah, I'm gonna give them a flip. Where I lay my things down and then I don't know where I laid them. Yummy. See how golden brown those are? You know, another point of putting your latkes in the oven is, you know, if when you're frying them on the cooktop, you're looking to get an outside crispy, crunchy exterior, and then putting them in the oven ensures that everything is cooked through and, you know, they puff up a little bit more. It's really, it's a good thing to do. So we're going to move on to our potato latkes. Now, I have to be honest with you. As I think I mentioned, generally when I cook, I don't use a recipe. I just kind of throw things and do. And the same goes for my potato latkes. But one of the things that I do is I'll make like a homemade batch similar to what we're doing today, and then either add to that batch some mashed potatoes or even the box latke mix. So you have the best of both worlds. You have the soft creaminess from that and also the shred. I'm going to take these zucchini guys out so they don't burn.
I don't understand. Do you ever use frozen shredded potatoes, Sandy?
I don't, not to say you can't, you know, look, that's a great shortcut. But actually, for the last 2 years, we haven't been eating potatoes. So, yeah.
What
So
kind of potato do you recommend?
Baking potato is good for latkes because there's a lot of starch in it. And with
Ruskin,
yes,
Ruskin.
yeah, russet baking potatoes, correct. With this particular recipe, I found it interesting. I have my potatoes here. They're I did put some cold water in them, and they've been soaking in this. And what I'm going to do is strain them in a cheesecloth. So I'm going to dump them in here and drain them. So the starch in the potatoes is coming into this bowl underneath here. And you let it sit for a few minutes. And later in the adding of the ingredients, you add the potato starch back in, which I found very interesting. I thought that was a cool little, tip. Use the starch that comes out of the potato instead of adding any other kinds of binder. Although this does have in this recipe like 2 tablespoons of flour or matzo meal. You're using the starch from the potatoes, so that's really holding it all together. So I got these potatoes pretty well squeezed out. My thumb is stuck in there. I'm going to let this sit so the starch can soak to the bottom. And, do we have a
Can I give a shout out to the camera work? I think one Herb Brash is absolutely crushing it, if I may be so bold.
Oh, he's got a scotch. I think he's going to have to take a break and come get some more scotch. So to my bowl, I'm going to add an egg, some salt, some pepper, and 2 tablespoons of matzo meal. Again, for this recipe, I've also cut this one in half. I didn't want to end up with a dozen potato latkes that we're not even eating. So I'm gonna just give my egg a little stir. I'm gonna throw my potatoes back in.
What did you use to shred them, Sandy?
I use my food processor.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's 2 size shredding blades. I use the smaller, so it's a nice shred. And it was interesting. The recipe said use your hands to mix this, so I'm going to do that now.
The shredded would work, Goldie.
I got news for you. I don't think this is enough egg, so I'm going to throw another egg in. I find it interesting when you read a recipe and it says, for example, 2 large zucchinis or 2 russet baking potatoes. Well, they're all kind of different sizes. So this is when I encourage you to use your own sechel, your own common sense. It looks dry to me, so I'm going to throw in another egg. And if you think that's the case, it looks a little dry, let me throw another egg in, or a little bit more matzo meal. It's okay. So in here I have the matzo meal and the salt and the pepper, and that goes in. And I'll give it a quick little stir. Oh, I need to get some other oil going because this is dark. Watch your arm, honey. Hot oil. So I'm starting with another pan, a clean pan. I'll put that on my cooktop here. And this is the olive oil that I use. And I'll get that a-going. There we go. We'll fry up some of these latkes. So, I need to add the potato starch. So I'm going to drain some of this liquid off. Okay, now tell me that's not cool. You see what's on the bottom? That's all potato starch.
The sediments to the bottom. Okay.
I had no idea.
That goes in. I love it when you can use every bit of, and I leave the skin on. I like the skin, so I leave it on. So a little bit later, we're going to be making sufganiyot, jelly donuts. And I'm curious if anybody else has made donuts.
No.
Nobody else. Okay.
I have.
Yeah, and how's that gone?
Yeah, it was a very long process.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy process, but
Not really fabulous in the end.
yeah. So I'm gonna get these latkes in, and I'll tell you a story about the sufganiyot. So again, I'm using my measuring cup, a third measuring cup, and kind of pat it down a little, and in it goes.
Sandy, I have a question for you about the oil.
Yes.
So there are so many different kinds of oils, but I, for some reason, picked up a fact that peanut oil was usually the best for fried foods. What is your take on peanut oil?
Well, it's it has a high, one of the reasons peanut oil is a good oil to use, it's got a high smoke point. So in other words, you can get it pretty hot and it doesn't burn or, smoke or anything. So that's a good choice. It's a good choice. My preference is, as I said earlier, olive oil. We use olive oil for everything in this house. Coconut oil also, but I really like the olive oil. So this is the latkes are in. They're going to cook on the first side. So when Ben was younger, we decided we were going to try to make sufganiyot. And we got all the ingredients and we got the recipe and we started making sufganiyot. And by the time we were done, we had jelly running down our arms. We had jelly all over the kitchen. There was powdered sugar everywhere. And we vowed never to make jelly donuts again. So when Cheryl asked me to do this cooking demonstration, and she, would love if I would make sufganiyot, it was almost like a PTSD reaction. It's like, jelly donuts. So, of course, I had to do a test batch. And as I mentioned earlier, I stood outside and handed them out to people who were walking their dogs or whatever. But you know what? They really look like they turned out pretty good. So I am not the least bit fearful of the ones we're going to make together tonight. Yeah. Okay. So sip of my drink. So delicious. So delicious. So while we're waiting for the potato latkes, I want to plate what we've made and show you, what that looks like. Can you get over here, honey? So for the zucchini latkes, again, I love using the tzatziki, and I really encourage you to, make this recipe. I think you'll find it delightful. Little dollop. Okay, I'm gonna move it. Okay, I'm gonna put it over here.
It does look yummy.
And these are the sweet potato. With these, I would make, which I didn't do for you today, a mango chutney or mango salsa would be wonderful with those. There's also mango salsa or mango chutney that you can buy. So I think it's on the top shelf at Publix with the condiments. So the latkes are on their second side. They're gonna finish doing their thing, and we're gonna talk donuts. And as I said, I need a drink before the donuts. Maybe that was the thing we did wrong, Benjamin. You were young and we weren't having a cocktail while we were making our sufganiyot.
Yeah, I don't know why you didn't pour me one at age 11 or whatever. It seemed kind of selfish, but
I agree with you, Ben.
So the thing about making jelly donuts, Q-tip it up. a few minutes while I talk, is it's, as Cheryl mentioned earlier, it is kind of a process. You have to make the dough, which we're going to do together now, and let it rise. So I made half of the recipe earlier. It's been rising, and we'll take it out. I have my oil heated. We'll fry some, but first I'll show you how it all comes together. So I use my KitchenAid mixer. Clear out a little bit here. I guess on the food TV, they have people that come and clean all this stuff up for them, right?
Correct.
I would come and clean it up if I got a taste of everything.
Oh,
And I'm a good cleaner.
Celeste, you cannot scare me. One of the most difficult things during this COVID is I can't cook for my friends. I miss cooking for people.
I
Okay.
can't cook either.
Sandy, you can always send some. I'll drive by and pick it up.
Well, sorry, Herb, I'm gonna turn this one more minute. Since nobody has said anything, I'm gonna give you a little clue. Anybody notice anything weird to do with our Hanukkah decorations?
They're orange. I don't know.
Well,
They're orange and blue.
Yeah, we're Florida Gators.
Oh,
But
okay.
this banner was from when my kids were little. Anybody notice anything a little weird about it? Oh, I'm standing in the way. Come on,
That's
guys.
Oh,
Does
it's
that say
Hanukkah
Hanukkah?
begins with a K.
Okay.
Is that Hanukkah?
Who just said that?
Eileen.
Celeste?
Two of us. Yeah, I think two of us. said
Ah.
it.
Okay. Well, Celeste and Susan, you both
Yeah.
mentioned it. Well, you are the winners because that you noticed what the misspell is. Tomorrow, I'm going to deliver some donuts and latkes to you. So we'll have to coordinate that. But
It wasn't me.
oh, who was it? Come on, speak up.
Me, you coming up?
Oh, no, I'm not coming up to you. So Celeste will happily eat your half of the donuts.
Okay. We're gonna have a foot of snow the end of the week.
Oh my goodness. So it was, of course, for my boys, their favorite Hanukkah decoration.
Oh.
And, I think I have to put in the will which boy's going to get the this decoration because they both want it.
Have a drawing.
But yeah, a misspell on a Hanukkah decoration. Can you
I
imagine?
think the son who came to your cooking demonstration should get it.
Yes. Okay. So Herb, can you bring over my donut ingredients? So I've been heating my oil.
Yes, chef.
Yes, chef. You want to go between 240 to 260 degrees on your oil. Evidently, that's an important thing to have the temperature right. And Ben, maybe that's something that you and I didn't quite have, because I think back in those days, I didn't have the fancy thermometer here, but my oil is at.
Yeah, you just told me to put my hand in, if I remember right.
So,
He loves you, Ben.
oh, I need to move it. I can't see it, right? Okay. I am gonna not burn myself. Okay, since this is everybody at the appropriate age, I will show you my mother's pot holders that I'm going to use to move my pan. They're vintage. I mean, they literally from the 1950s.
It is so cute.
And Helen's hiding her face and saying, "Don't do it." And my
They're not cute, Goldie. They're not cute.
They're great.
Pot holders. And of course, I said, "Mom, when you die, I get the pot holders." So it's cute, little boy pants and little girl. And then, and you guessed it,
Okay, maybe not so cute.
Great.
So Ben, you're getting these when I die, okay? So I'm gonna move this pan and move this.
Sounds good, thanks.
Is Hannah still there with you?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Hello.
He ran away. Where's your family?
Well, Hannah came and visited and met the family this last trip to Tennessee. So she knows what she's getting into.
But that was before she saw the potholders.
Yeah. I didn't tell her about the potholders.
Do I get any grace? I had no idea what I was getting into.
So I'm gonna mix the ingredients in the KitchenAid for the donuts. So it's the all-purpose flour. This is actually, again, I cut the recipe. This is in fourths because I have some prepared to fry. So we have, throw in the flour, all-purpose flour. We have our yeast that goes in. We have sugar. And a little bit of salt. And interesting, this is bread flour. So it's a small amount of bread flour, which is of course high in gluten and will help the donuts be yummy and pooly and fluffy. So that the bread flour is going in. Then there's 1/4 cup of oil. And water. And last but not least, an egg, which I took the eggs out, all the ingredients, so they were room temp. Now, I'm going to turn it on for just a minute. This makes a hell of a noise, so I'll mix this later, but you mix it up. I have the dough hook on, and I will mix it for about 10 to 12 minutes. You'll see it starts pulling away from the sides of the bowl and it's quite sticky. A tip is to oil, like just put some oil on your hands and that will help you form the dough. So once it's mixed for 10 minutes, you dump it out on your counter, back a little more, and you form little balls. And then you lay them on individual pieces of parchment paper, which you'll see in a minute. This is the best tip of this whole donut making situation. You take little pieces of parchment paper, as I'll show you in a minute with the ones that are rising. The difficult part when you're moving the donuts, if you touch them, you'll deflate them. Well, you want them to stay poofy puffy. So I'm going to get them. I have them in an oven. The oven is not on, but I put them in the oven to rise because there's no air blowing on them. The air conditioner, can you believe the air conditioner's on? Last week we had the heater, today the air conditioner. So my oil is good. So what you want to do is take the parchment paper, not disturbing the donut, and just drop it into the hot oil. This is so much fun.
Wow.
And then it's going to get going.
Sandy, the paper goes in too?
The paper goes in, and that's the greatest thing because you're not deflating your donut. It goes in. Okay, and then you simply just pull the paper.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, got a hot tip?
Pretty impressive.
Cool.
Turn
I
them.
got my Steelers shirt on.
Yeah, awesome. So you'll see the donut starts to brown, and I'm just going to give it a little flippy dippy.
Oh, it's
Ooh, yeah.
beautiful.
Right? So you could do more than one at a time. I'm just so excited, these little guys. Throw in the other one.
Impressed with this.
In the meantime, I'm going to put my potato latkes.
Put them into. Cook everything at the same time.
Celeste, these are your donuts.
Wow.
Yep, perfect on the other side,
They look great.
right?
Great.
You man, we can't eat them.
So I'm gonna pull off this paper.
Wow.
I'll drop another guy in and turn that guy over. So I'm not afraid of donuts anymore.
How much oil is in there, Sandy?
A quart of oil. And I have canola, it's canola oil.
Ah.
Um,
Yeah, I think you should be on TV.
I am on TV.
You are.
Ta-da.
And we're making this go viral, so the whole world is gonna know.
So when I talked to my dear friend Myra from New York and her daughter Sabrina, who works for
Oh my God, look at that.
Great.
and sent her a picture of my test, she said, "Oh, you achieved the the gold standard." Well, this one doesn't have it. And donuts, you want to have like a white, kind of a white ring around the middle. I said, "Really?" Because I was trying to like dunk them in so that white ring wouldn't be there.
What brilliant. Remember what we were talking about before? You can see them.
So I think this guy, I mean, it literally takes seconds for these things to cook. But isn't this parchment paper the hottest tip ever?
Yep.
Does it come in squares or did you cut it from a roll?
I cut it.
You cut it from a roll.
That really is amazing.
I'm gonna drop that one in backwards. We'll see what happens. So,
Check something real quick.
oh my gosh, these look good.
They really do, Sandy.
How do you get the jelly in them?
So we're gonna do that next. You will see how that happens.
Okay,
Um,
more magic.
they are looking good. For right now, I'm just gonna, well, I'll do one more. Oh, this is the last one.
How long were they rising, Sandy?
An hour and a half. So I made them earlier, figuring I would be to the donut part about this time. And so at 6 o'clock, I made the dough and they began their rise. So this is doable, right, guys? This isn't so terrible.
So Sandy, when you made the dough, you put all the ingredients together. You didn't do, like the liquid with the yeast and the sugar first and then add the other things. Everything just dumped together. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it all just, you can go, yeah. So I'm gonna let them cool a little bit before I pick them up to stuff them, fill them. So I'm gonna open to prepare our potato latkes for the table. Ugh, ugh.
Herb was supposed to have done that.
I know, what's up?
He's slipping.
So a little bit of applesauce. So back in the day when we were eating potato latkes, I would make the applesauce. It's easy enough to do. And we'll take our last donut out. So to fill them, hot. Let's see if I can make a little spot here. I'll go back over here. Herb.
How do you wrap the film?
What?
How do you wrap the film?
Wrap to fill them.
It said the film.
Fill 'em. It was a little Jewish joke. Okay, so I'm back over here with my donuts. And this is, Ben, I think this is where we lost control.
What was that?
I think this is where we lost control. They're still kind of hot. Let me put it down.
Control.
Oh my goodness. They look real, like real donuts. So you can use a, you know, those little tips, baking tips, excuse me a minute. The baking tips you can buy to pipe frosting and stuff on cakes. So there's a long tip that's to fill specifically for that. I can't find my tips. Do you guys, when you get to this point in your life, you rearrange things and then you cannot remember where you put them? Well, that's the case with my fill tips. So I am using a flavor injector, which is simply a syringe. And this may be better than a tip. A syringe, it's got holes in it, and I will simply stick it in the side of the donut. And I need my other hand. I have jelly in the tube. Herb, help. It's going, it's going, it's going. Wow, that's not so easy.
Sandy, could you also use like one of those squeeze bottles, like, you know, from ketchup or the mustard?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
That you could get, you know, for 99 cents, because I was going to make donuts and I didn't, so I looked into that.
So it's filled, but now we have to, just for the sake of the plating, I'm not going to fill them all right now, but I will put them on a platter. And I feel a little powdered sugar is kind of necessary. Everybody vote powdered sugar?
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we go here for the powdered sugar. And I'm sure you all know how this trick, you put it in a little fine sifter and just dust.
Can you show us the tool you're dusting with?
It's, I put it.
Got
so-
it.
So, yeah, it's just a little mesh strainer.
Yep.
And here it is. Now you can put them over here.
They look terrific.
So we're going to cut it open because I want to see what they look like inside. So Celeste, you won't mind if we cut one of your donuts open, will you? I think this is the one I filled.
Oh my gosh, look at that. Puffy.
Oh, it's not the one I filled. What did I feel?
I think the one on the lower, yeah, that one has a hole in the side.
That's what Herb just said. Sandy, the one with the hole in it. That's why, you know, my partner in crime. What? Oh, Herb. Sorry, Celeste. That's okay. I'll make 6 more.
No, that's all right. I probably only need 2 donuts. That's.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to take a bite. Nobody said no, don't do it, Sandy.
Yeah, do it,
go for
Sandy.
it, Sandy.
Okay.
Go for it.
One bite, honey. Oh my God. It's really good, guys. And that was not so terrible to make. Oh my, oh, I gotta throw it away so I don't need any more. Sorry, excuse me a moment.
Orgasmic.
My husband said it was orgasmic.
And him repeat the rest. Herb.
Garbage, that's it. So here's our 3 latkes. the potato latkes with applesauce and sour cream, the zucchini latkes. Can you guys see these?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes. And the curry sweet potato latkes, which I really do encourage you, if you make those, get some mango chutney to go on there. And our wonderful sufganiyot. We did it, guys.
Great job.
Great.
Sandy,
Fabulous,
Sandy,
Fabulous.
Sandy.
Sandy, thank you for the tips, the cooking tips. You cook like I cook.
I think the best tip of the day is that parchment paper. That works like
It
a
is.
charm. It makes these donuts doable.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments to ask Sandy or say something?
Sandy,
Thank
you
you.
were,
It
Thank you
was
very
so much
much.
fun.
Sandy, as always, you were incredibly prepared, and just like on TV, you were the star.
Well, I guess you could say food is my love language. I don't know. I like to share. You know, there's a zillion things that I'm not good at. There's one or two things I'm pretty good at. And I'm just delighted to be able to share those things with you guys.
In my garden.
And I would love if somebody really does want to grow sweet potatoes. I got my neighbors growing sweet potatoes. Since the pandemic, Herb and I built an additional garden. Well, we actually put in 2 more gardens, but one is by the road and it's for all the neighbors. It's a herb garden, Herb's Herbs, and it's all the neighbors or people who are walking by for them to stop and pick fresh herbs for their cooking. And we have met so many people during this pandemic, and that's been a silver lining for us. It's been a delight. You know, you got to look for the good. As Rabbi says, you got to share the light and shed the light and pass the love around. So I'm delighted that you guys hung out with me tonight and that we could do this together. And don't hesitate.
You really shed your light this Hanukkah with us, Sandy.
Sandy, thank you so much for sharing your kitchen, your time, everything, your recipes with us. And Herb, thank you for your camera work.
To my cameraman,
You're welcome. My
the
pleasure.
bartender.
My pleasure.
And I would really love to get those pot holders instead of Ben, but okay.
I've had to deal with a lot of stuff. All right. I think I've earned them. All right. So
You just see my mother with these pot holders.
Yeah, yes, we all can.
I beat my sister out. You can
You know what we're gonna make when I come to visit?
What?
I know what we're gonna make when I come to visit. The
What?
dough, all of that, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Eileen's daughter, it's her anniversary today. Her and her husband, 5 years they've been married.
Yep.
And so when I was speaking to Eileen earlier, she said, Allie's making sufganiyot tonight when the baby goes to sleep. So I called her immediately and I said, Allie, you've got this parchment paper thing. She goes, I've been researching, I got it down. So it makes it doable. Really, it was not bad at all.
They look delicious.
They really do.
So Celeste, I'm gonna text you or something and we'll figure out, I can drop them by your door and you can have some goodies.
If you have time, otherwise it's okay. If you have time.
Okay. No. That way I don't have to stand out in the street and hand, you know,
I know, donuts.
eat some donuts, eat some latkes. Delighted.
Well,
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
How fun.
Thanks, Sandy.
Good night, guys.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining the Jubilees and look forward to whatever event we come up with next. If anybody has any ideas, please let me know.
A plus, thank
And
you.
have a wonderful Hanukkah and a happy New Year.
Amen to that.
Amen.
See ya.
Stay well, everybody.
All right.
Night, folks.
Night.
Night.